Hello, this is Eye on Africa with me, Yenali. Your headlines on the continent tonight. Judges on Kenya's Supreme Court decide on the validity of last month's presidential election. Defeated candidate Raila Odinga claims electoral fraud after losing by a razor-thin margin. South Africa's ruling ANC party suggests chemical castration as a punishment for convicted rapists. Experts, though, doubt such a move would effectively tackle gender-based violence. And if you look closely at the screen, you might spot one of your old T-shirts. Millions of tons of textile waste end up in Ghana each week. Our guest on tonight's show is the founder of a non-profit that's sounding the alarm on fast fashion and providing upcycling solutions. Let's start in Kenya, where Supreme Court justices are currently deciding whether or not last month's presidential election was valid. William Ruto won that nail-biting vote, but his opponent, Raila Odinga, is challenging the results. The five-time presidential hopeful lost by a tiny margin of around 230,000 ballots, this despite the support of outgoing leader Uhuru Kenyatta. Take a listen now to what some Nairobi residents are saying about the possibility of new polls.
I think as a country we have grown, because by now, if we are supposed to have skirmishes, they will be there already. Yeah, but I think we won't have any. As a country we have grown. Even if we come back to another election, it will be half-half. But probably it will be more open than the one we have had already.
They have already wasted a lot of time and money, so if we go back to election, we will waste our time and...
It will be very bad, surely. Because for now, it's hard. Can you imagine? Then another one, it will be very hard.
And Kenya's Supreme Court is to decide on that ruling by Monday evening. France 24 will, of course, be following this story for you closely. Next, to another electoral dispute, this time in Angola. After last week's election, President João Lourenço was handed a second term with 51% of the vote. His party, the MPLA, has never left power since the country's independence. The opposition UNITA party, though, reached its best ever result at 44%, but they're contesting those results. 4 of the 16 electoral commissioners also did not sign off the final outcome, unsure about its legitimacy. Take a listen to UNITA leader Adalberto Costa Jr.
Termino garantindo que tudo faremos para que todos os...
I guarantee that we will do everything to ensure that every vote is effectively counted and respected. UNITA and its president will not abandon those who trusted their vote in the opposition. We are with the Angolan people, united by the same common cause, scrupulous respect for electoral truth.
South Africa's ruling ANC party has recently suggested the use of chemical castration against convicted rapists. The idea comes after the gang rape in the west of Johannesburg last June that shocked the nation. On average, 115 women report rapes to the police every day in the country, meaning that the real number could be much higher. The ANC's castration idea has gained traction, but some experts say it's not a solution in a country where rape is endemic. Our correspondents filed this report.
At a Women's Day event in Langa, Cape Town, the Good Party's leader has said women here have little to celebrate. Minister Patricia de Lille launched a hotline encouraging communities to report gender-based violence.
Many people keep quiet when they see abuse of women and children because the family think about the shame it will bring onto the family name.
Survivors shared their stories and say they've lost faith in the justice system.
Give them to the community because the community will know what to do with it. The community will know because that man going to sit in that jail a couple of years, then he comes out, do the exact same.
At the ruling party's conference in Johannesburg recently, ANC leaders finally agreed to explore an extreme approach that its Women's League has been proposing for years.
Chemical castration is still one of the ways in which we would like to put across to the ANC, to anybody who's found to have been guilty of rape.
At Stellenbosch University, this professor of gender politics says chemical castration hasn't decreased rape. It's been used in several countries and some states in the United States with mixed results.
Rape is not about sexual desire, it's about power and the entitlement to women's bodies. And if you look at the brutality of rape in South Africa, so, even somebody who is chemically castrated and impotent can rape with bottles and sticks and objects. And in South Africa, women get raped with objects. So it's not really dealing with the systemic problem of rape in South Africa.
Civil society is calling for urgent intervention.
And France's new foreign minister has publicly criticised Mali's junta, suggesting the leaders are making one mistake after another. Her remarks come just weeks after French troops left the West African state after a 9-year presence fighting jihadists and insecurity.
Au Mali, nous voyons progresser les groupes terroristes armés dans tout le pays.
In Mali, we see armed terrorist groups advancing throughout the country, thousands of Malians displaced, while the regime, perpetrator of a double coup, attacks Denmark one day, Ivory Coast the next, and always France, in an attempt to make people forget that they play it by ear, from failure to failure, hitched to a group of Russian mercenaries.
Now, here's a number for you, 15 million. That's 15 million used garments that arrive in Ghana every week from Europe, North America, the UK and Australia. A huge chunk of that is so worthless it ends up immediately in landfills. The rest enters the circular economy, being resold, upcycled or recycled. Now, one of the many actors in this huge parallel market is Yayra Agbofah, the founder and creative director of The Revival, an educational upcycling non-profit based in Accra. Thank you so much for joining me, Yayra. Yayra, the Revival designs upcycled clothes, teaches consumers how to make stylish pieces and educates people about fast fashion. What made you want to start this project?
Growing up in Ghana, I used to love the beach. I love nature. So over the period of years, the beach just got dirty and dirty. And all I saw was clothing waste being one of the main things polluting our beaches. And then also, I just got frustrated by the waste, clothing waste that is all over the city, like in Accra. So that pushed me to actually go into this and do something about it.
And I know that you source most of your material from Cantamento. Could you describe that second-hand market to our viewers?
So Cantamento is my favorite place. It's an amazing place. It's a place of opportunities. It's one of the biggest second-hand markets in the world, where all the clothes are being sold, all the second-hand clothes are being sold. And it's an amazing place, a maze of so many things, so many stores and people. It's been a place that people have really been plying their trade for so many decades.
And with the Revival, you've just launched an online course that approaches sustainable fashion with an ethnographic lens. Now, what does that exactly mean?
Basically, it means we just studied the system, collected data on the ground, which means we were living the data, and we also trying to see the impact, the impact on the local market, and also the impact environmentally. And just for you to know, the second-hand clothes here locally, we call them Obroni Webu, which literally means dead white man's clothes.
You just mentioned there are dead white man's clothes. They have, though, created countless jobs, and at that second-hand market you were talking about earlier. Do you think Ghana should ban second-hand clothes like Rwanda did?
I think there is a better approach to this. I think because it's created so many opportunities for people in Ghana, I think there should rather be a proper structure to it, by having a system of filtration system where what comes into the country is in good condition and can be used in Ghana, can be worn and can be sold in Ghana. No winter clothes, nothing that we don't use here.
And it's not just an environmental issue, of course. It's also a labour issue around this. You told me that a lot of the people who work at the market, for example, are women, and they're buying these bails, and it can be quite risky for them to make that investment. Could you explain why?
So basically, these women, I mentioned women because women form the majority of the traders in the customers market. And when they buy these clothing bales, they have no idea, they have little idea of what's in there. So most of the time in recent times, there's been a lot of them complaining about them making losses because when they buy these bales, they are not able to sell things. If, for example, it's labeled T-shirt and they open it up, first 2-3 rows, remaining as winter clothes, winter jackets, leather stuff.
Like winter stuff.
Use here.
Yeah, winter stuffing on it does seem quite incredible. Fast fashion's impact on the environment is not really a secret now. We've all seen those pictures of those massive landfills that are quite shocking. Yet people continue to buy and buy more every year. What needs to be done in your opinion?
I think consumers need to know about conscious consumption, which mainly there should be much more education about conscious consumption, and these will push producers to stop overproduction. And then I think this will have a great impact. Will do much good to the environment than what we're having now.
All right, thank you so much, Yayra Agbofah of The Revival, for your insights.
Thank you.
That's it for Eye on Africa. Tonight's show was produced by Kemi Nadalek and her team behind the cameras.
War has once more reared its head in Europe, recalling the darkest hours of our history.
Kiev is still about 30 kilometers away.
France 24 is providing constant coverage of events in Ukraine. Our teams on the ground and in the studio will keep you informed of all the latest developments.
They're collecting 400 meters of...
Stay informed, stay aware.
Liberté, égalité, actualité.